Well, let's rock and roll. Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all had a good week, and great to see so many faces this morning. I want to give a shout out to Anna on the chamber staff. She's sitting with Leadership Columbia right now at their retreat at the game show in Lexington, and they met all day yesterday, and are meeting again today for a little different this year. Leadership Columbia is half the class. We do the social distancing, and but they've just kicked off. And anyway, Anna's showing, without anybody getting motion sickness, she's showing around the game show place and showing the class. So anyway, thanks, Anna, and welcome everybody. Let's hit a few topics, and I'll throw it out to y'all and let me know what we need to talk about today. Numbers keep going down. Really, that's masks are working. So mask and sanitizer. Haven't heard as much about the sanitizer, but don't forget that. That's important. I'm ready for my kids to go back to school, so please mask up. USC's numbers are down. I literally checked the dashboard this morning, and they've tested almost 20,000 folks since August 1st, which is unbelievable. And they're back to their low numbers, actually, since right when school started. Of their campus alert factors. But anyway, I monitor that all the time. But they were, if y'all remember, just a few weeks ago, they were at 60 some odd % of their isolation and quarantine space used, and now it's less than 7%. So whatever, we knew there was going to be a spike, they called it, and the spike has gone down greatly. So I hope that will help overall Richland County numbers, which have been really high, and we still see numbers, but the hospitalizations are down and the fatality rates are pretty low. So good news there. Lexington County did announce this week that they're going back 5 days in a few weeks. And so I hope, we all hear stories, and anecdotally, we know kind of what's going on with schools and parents that are struggling right now to work and get their kids educated. But the need for structure and the need for in-person classes is growing greatly. I know the educators know that as well. It's trying to just make the science work with getting back. And so we're keeping our fingers crossed. I'll just say that. But kudos to Lexington for figuring it out. Let's just talk about, there's so much going on right now. This week was dominated by, election, forget about that. That's a given. But from the domination in South Carolina was the General Assembly back this week. Really good stuff. A huge hallelujah. We've been working on business license reform I've been in Columbia 20 years, and it's been on the 15 of my 20 years we've talked about it, and it finally passed yesterday. And this is a big deal. Big deal for a lot of people, because business licenses are just a pain. Nobody likes to pay it, but now we've streamlined the process. I'll give you a brief update on what it does, and not to bore you, but basically, if you are a tradesman and you do business in 4 different, 5 different, 12 different municipalities, you got to have a business license for every one of those. It is ridiculous. And most of them all had different forms. So you had to fill out different forms. A lot of HVAC companies and plumbing companies all they had to have full-time staff just to keep up with the bureaucracies. And so now with the passage of the bill yesterday, you can actually fill out one form. State law mandates now that counties have to, and cities, anybody that has a business license fee has to adopt the unified form. It's still going off of gross proceeds of sale, which is not great, but it is what it is. but more importantly, you file it the same day to a government entity once a year, and it's going to be awesome. So nobody likes to pay taxes, but if we can make it as painless as possible to do so, more the better. So kudos to the General Assembly for doing that. We appreciate their help. We've been working hard with our friends in Greenville and Charleston, as well as the state chamber, to pass that. And the municipal association had worked with the business community for the last few years, and it's been great. So that's
Hey, Carl.
Yes.
Hey, this is John Cadena. How are you this morning?
Hello, Mr. Cadena.
Hey, quick question. So I know early on in this process, there was a lot of angst from the municipalities. The reason why is that the impact on their budget. So some would have a minimal impact on their budget. Others would have a huge impact on their budget. Do you know if any municipalities were adversely affected by the new legislation?
There was a hold harmless, so they didn't change. They created 7 different classifications of business, but they did amend the language to allow municipalities or counties to go in and add sub categories under those 7 major categories. Bryant, you may have listened to this, you may know a little bit more than me, but they gave counties and cities, they allowed them to go in, and if they pass it by their government entities, they can create more. Like, for instance, keeps 7 classifications, right? The city of Columbia has over 133 different classifications. That's most of anybody, right? So it just tells you if you get a good lobbyist or a good lawyer, you can go create your own classification. So what this will do is streamline that. Now, cities and counties can go add some more, but because it still maintains that gross proceeds of sale, it should not have an adverse impact on budgets. That was the kicker, that they truly wanted to have a hold harmless. About 6 years ago, North Carolina, maybe it was 5 years ago, North Carolina actually banned business license fees from a whole. But the difference in North Carolina, it was somewhere between 2 and 5% of any municipality's budget. In South Carolina, business license fees have become a revenue generator, and they actually account in some areas up to 50% of the city municipality's budget. 50%. And so this was, when they created this, it was mainly used to be an identifier, right? Who's doing business in our community, and making sure that we track, for instance, after a hurricane, you get all these shady roofers come in and they want to take and rip you off and then move on. So the business license is to create a way we can track businesses down and hold them accountable, which is fine. But as a money generator, it actually, this was a byproduct of Act 388 in 2006, where the General Assembly limited the ability of local governments to raise funds. And so business license was one of those ways they could do it. And so it's a whack-a-mole. And so there are about 7 counties and about 6 counties and 7 cities around that make over 25 million bucks a year off of business license fees. And so anyway, this is a streamlined process only. It does not change the collection side, but just makes it easier. So ease of business will be good. More to come on that when we actually see. It'll go into effect next year. And so business licenses will be issued on May 1st and go through until April 30th. And they're based upon the previous year's gross sales. So we'll have more on that. We can put something on our website about that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did I answer your question?
It does perfectly. And also, you just answered the second part about who collects it. Because I know there was a plan for the state to collect it. And I think everybody just kind of shied away from that. They thought it was a horrible idea.
Well, it did not state in the statute where the collection would happen, but it does allow, and this was with the last minute, there was a big fight It does allow for third-party collection agencies to do these. So if a municipality wants to contract with a collection group to do it, they can, but there's certain parameters that they have to follow. The business community was very concerned about that because of privacy issues, because of gross proceeds of sales and that type of stuff. But they worked out a compromise. The business community and Senator Shaheen worked out a deal that would not prohibit third party, but they're on a short leash. They can't get certain information. And if a third party uses unprofessional tactics, any business can request they not be notified again and have to deal directly with the municipality or county.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Big news also, they passed some legislation deal with broadband, which is good. They put some money into it. Now, some of the CARES Act money that they appropriated went to broadband. 50% of the money from the CARES Act was used to pay for hotspots for kids in school, and additional money was set aside to help prop up broadband in rural. And I think there are 12 or 14 companies have come in and started putting broadband in rural communities. The caveat with the CARES Act is that money had to be spent by the end of this year. And so now the General Assembly is now are going to use existing power line right-of-ways, et cetera, to have connections and broadband, which is huge. I mean, this really, I've mentioned this before, but I think this will go down as one of the most significant things that we could do during this crisis that we've been in, the pandemic. And this probably will rival that of the Rural Telephone Act and what happened under the New Deal right after the Depression, because it really connected rural parts of this state with telephone. Likewise here, even though you've got cell service, that doesn't really, you're still limited in what you can do. So you can talk on the phone, but that doesn't mean you have access to streaming services or telehealth stuff, which is a game changer. So anyway, congratulations to the General Assembly there. Also, they passed a budget, and it was, they did a smart thing. They just kept it pretty much like it was, and then they'll come back in just a couple months. I mean, session starts again in January with a new General Assembly to take up the budget next year. So no big surprises, but I do want to point out, I mentioned this last week, we wanted rural broadband. We also we put in Charleston and Greenville chambers and the Columbia Chamber put in a letter 3 or 4 months ago asking that the General Assembly set aside $100 million for small minority businesses. Those that were not eligible for PPP, they needed some funding. They needed some help. Henry, correct, did they put 25 million in, 20 million? I have it in my
40
note.
million. They put in 40 million.
40 million, sorry. Okay, they put 40 million in for small minority businesses across the state. And the preference is folks, the priority is folks that did not qualify for the payroll protection plan or other things. And so that hopefully will get flowing soon. But as you know, small minority business has been hit very, very hard. One, they just didn't have working capital to pivot, and we need to support them as best we can. So I'm anxious to hear how that's going to get rolled out to Department of Commerce, and we'll let you know as soon as we know something about that. Before I go to federal, just a quick public service announcement. Avoid I-77 tonight. Just don't go on I-77. They're shutting down both roads, both north and southbound lanes between 277 and 2 Notch or Percival. I don't avoid it. Don't do it. But on that note, I don't see Ted Creech on here. He was on issues earlier or Public Policy Committee earlier this week. But big news that the Army Corps of Engineers gave final approval to Malfunction Junction. Carolina Crossroads. Everybody knows Malfunction Junction, so I'll keep it there. But that final passage or the final okay from the Corps of Engineers was significant because of the amount of water that's impacted right there. That's right across the right at the Saluda River, Broad River, whatever, all the rivers. And so getting that approval was key to get that to start the process. They've already really started around 126. Construction's also past Chapin all the way out to 85, exit 85. And so the good news is for Clemson fans, you're going to see a lot of orange and white along the roads of Columbia the next 10 years. That's called growth, but with that goes growing pains, and we're going to see traffic issues. But so be on the lookout this weekend for updates. I know Rich and his team keep everybody apprised of what's going on the roads, but also for trying to get goods and services around town. The next few years are going to be interesting. And so to that note, two things coming up. We got an extra week this week. It feels like September's lasted forever. But October 6th, we actually have an issues meeting and talk about DC stuff. November 3rd is election day, but we're going to have an issues meeting, and we've got DOT planned to be there to talk about all the projects going on in the Midlands, the impact, the fiscal impact that it has, but also, well, the patience that we're going to need because we got 26, 77, 20, 126, all got construction projects, plus Elmwood and Blossom Street bridges have got to be totally redone. So we got a lot of things to talk to DOT about, making sure they don't do all of it at the same time, but you know what's going to happen. All right, I've saved I don't know, the worst for last, but DC is DC, and we'll just leave it there, right? It's going to be really, really interesting the next with Justice Ginsburg passing. I'm hoping that's the October surprise came premature, but we'll see. But it is crazy. We'll leave it there. How about what else is going on? I'm glad to see Willis Ware here with Heathwood Hall. Appreciate you being here. Willis, anything going on at Heathwood you want to tell about?
Well, just that we were able to start classes for our students on the 19th of August. We have a pretty extensive COVID-19 protocol to practice social distancing, students and faculty wearing masks, parents on campus required to wear masks. And so it's just been refreshing to get our kids back on campus in a learning environment, and knock on wood, so far so good. We're taking it a day and a week at a time, but it's just been great to have the kids back at school.
Great. I know somebody else had something. I'm trying to see where it was here. Anybody got?
Hey, Carl, it's Jim Morris.
Hey, Jim Morris.
Yeah. Hey, we run the South Carolina Council on Economic Education, and I do want to put the word out there. We have a program with the treasurer that gives about $500 and then $1,000 and then $1,500 to a teacher simply for participating in a financial literacy master teacher program. So, and then we have about 1,700 teachers across the state who last year participated in a lot of our in our programs. If you know any teachers, please let them reach out to us. We've got about 3 spots left for this cohort. We had 36 of them participate last year. You do not have to be a teacher of personal finance. Our teacher of the year was actually an English teacher that taught personal finance in her English class. So if you know teachers, send them our way. Everything we do is free. And we have a state mandate to do certain things with a grant from the state for the last 6 years. So we take that seriously. So send them our way. We will help them. We teach teachers to teach economics and personal finance, which is a very interdisciplinary skill. So
Right. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. I'm gonna call. Speaking of education, about 2 weeks ago, I guess on this call, we got to meet Annette with St. Peter's. And I had good fortune sitting down with her last week. And so Annette, you're new to One Columbia, but also this is just a handful of Coffee with Carl. So introduce yourself if you don't mind. Talk about, I learned a lot about St. Peter's that I didn't know about. So how about a 30-second elevator talk?
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. I'm Annette Corolla. I'm delighted to be able to be part of the meeting today and last time, and I got to meet Miss Henry and Carl's staff at the Chamber, so it's great to be part of the Chamber of Commerce with St. Peter's Catholic School. A lot of people don't know about us, but we are a private elementary school. We go all the way to 6th grade, so from 3K all the way to 6th grade. We currently have all our students but we have all of our students here in class. We are also practicing high hygiene and social distancing and making sure that everybody is wearing their masks at school. We are not allowing any parents inside for tours because of the virus, but all of our children come to school and they have to go through our hand sanitizing station and then being able to go into their classrooms. If anyone has any children that are between 3K and 6th grade, we still have some vacancies in some of the classrooms. So you can reach out to me and I will be happy to give you some information about the school. We are open 5 days a week and we are a very diverse school. We have been in the downtown in the same spot for 168 years. So we survived the Civil War, we survived a lot of things, and the school here is still open and operating. We are a part of a ministry of the Basilica of St. Peter's. So I don't know how many of you are maybe parishioners, but if you are, you probably hear about us. Awesome, Beth, that's good. And another time, I would love for you guys to come and visit and see all the work that we're doing with the children. It's just great to see them. They are just so happy to be able to be back in school. And it's very cute to be able to see the little 3-year-olds, you know, with their mask wearing, and everybody's doing so good because they want to be able to see their friends, but also be able to be in school and outside of the house. So we are praying every day that we'll find a solution for the coronavirus and it will go away from all of us so that we can resume some sort of normalcy again. But St. Peter's is open to everyone. We have over 12 different faith belief families here. So it's not just open for Catholic families. It is open for anyone and everyone. Is very diverse. Our diversity is not only in the color of our children or the cultural background, but also the religions background and disabilities. So we are a very diverse school right here downtown Columbia, very close to you guys. So if you ever want to say hello, I am here, so say hello to us. If you want some information about our school, send me a message and I will be happy to respond to you guys. And Jim, if you can please send me some information so that I can share that with our teachers, that would be great. It has been very hard and difficult for not only the parents to stay with the virus, but also for teachers to start and have to teach in the midst of all of this. So any support and any help that you guys can provide for our teachers, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and just so I put the website, I linked it and Jim linked it as well with his contact information in the chat box. So feel free to take a look at that. I see Mike Gula on here from the airport. Mike, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry, but if you're here, I see your name. There you go.
Here, Carl.
How's it going?
It's slow. I mean, it's a rough time right now for all parts of transportation. The one thing I'll let everybody know, I mean, the month of April, we were down 97%.
Phew.
So last year we did close to 700,000 enplanements. This year we're on schedule for maybe 250,000.
Wow. How about, I know you've been doing a bunch of projects. The positives, well, the silver lining is you've been able to use this time wisely to make some upfits out there, I understand.
Yeah, we We have. I mean, we definitely, taken advantage of the downtime for sure as a organization, and getting things back in line to where they need to be. So we've got a big project that's going to kick off the first of the year. It's called our inline baggage project. That's where when you're out there in front of the ticket counters, you see the big gray CTX machines for TSA. What we're doing is that'll all be back behind the scenes. That'll free up a lot more room for queuing at the ticket counters when things come back online. We're also redoing all the airline ticket counters, redoing all baggage claim is pretty much being gutted and redone. All the counters down there will be redone. We just wrapped up phase 4 of our mechanical project. So that's saving us. That was supposed to be a 1-phase project when I first came online here at CAE. We just wrapped up, like I said, phase 4 of it. Once we started digging into systems and turning different things online, we realized that it all needed to be replaced. So right now, we just wrapped that up. So we're seeing a savings of 25% a month on that.
Wow.
Pre-COVID, we were having some issues and a lot of complaints with customers that were coming in to park in the garage on the second level. They were spending 20 to 30 minutes driving around trying to find an open spot, which was a good thing for us, but not so much for the customers. So what we did is we implemented what's called a parking guidance system. So that's up and operational now. When people decide to start flying again, when you come into the second level of the garage, you're going to see LED lights above every single stall. So if it's green, it's available. If it's red, obviously move on, but it'll definitely help out with the convenience side of that. Let me see what else we got. So parking has always been an issue. Every time I do a speaking presentation, I get hounded on, our parking prices. And I just want everybody to know, I mean, trust me, we've done the research. We are the cheapest in the Southeast. And I actually found a picture from 2004, and our rates have not changed since 2004. So we reached out to a group called Manchester Airport Group. And what we are implementing, and this will come live in November, it'll be a pre-booking parking option that you can do online through our website. And what we found is the folks that come in, mainly your business travelers, they're going to be here 2 to 3 days. Generally, they don't care, what parking is going to cost, because generally they're not paying for it. Their company is. But where I think we're getting the complaints are the folks that, the family that comes in, they do a 7-day trip. They leave here with $100-something, parking ticket, and they're upset about it. So what this online pre-book parking option does is it'll manipulate the data. And what we're trying to do is I don't want to call it a discount, but truly it is. I mean, give those people that come in for 7 days, take their family on vacation. You don't need mom and pop to drop you off. You don't need to use Uber to get out here. It's going to discount you based on the number of days that you book. So it's something we're going to try, and it's working at other airports. Everybody right now is thinking outside the lines, just trying to figure out different things to do to make it more convenient. As far as COVID's concerned, I mean, we're taking every precaution that we know to take, based on state and local guidelines. We've got the foggers now, the sanitation foggers we're using out in the concourse and right in the lobby. One thing that I did a little bit different than a lot of my counterparts. A lot of my counterparts through this pandemic, they've been letting employees go. That's something I'm not going to do that. What I've actually done is hired on more janitorial staff, just so we're visible in the lobby and visible out in the concourse, constantly cleaning. Bathrooms used to be cleaned every 2 to 3 hours. We're doing those, on the hour now. We've got social distancing stickers all throughout. I mean, when you get to the checkpoint, you're going to see them. When you get out into the concourse at your gates, you're going to see them on the seats, just to, promote social distancing. So we feel like we're taking every step that we possibly can on our end to, make sure we're safe and let our passengers know that when they're ready, we're ready.
Great update. Thanks for that. And good stuff. Let us know how we can help. I guess we can help by telling everybody to go fly somewhere.
Yeah, go take a vacation somewhere.
Take a work trip, travel
Yeah.
vacation. Before you leave, Mike, we saw early in the summer that at least in a lot of the area that business travel was down. It basically inverted 80-20 in a lot of places where it was 80% business. Now it's 80% leisure. Are you still seeing that? Is business travel picking up at all?
Very little.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, everything's pretty much been leisure and military. I'd love to know, I mean, I'd love to know from the business community when they think they're going to start to fly again, when conferences are going to start to open up, when things are going to start to somewhat get back to normal.
Dee's ready when you are. Actually, D Simmons ready quicker than you are to get the travel back, right, D?
Correct. I'm trying to get back on audio, video. Oh, sorry. Yes. Hey, Mike, how are you doing? Yes,
I'm good. How are you?
I did book or working on 2 RFPs this week. One is for spring 2022. So like I said last week, we are slowly seeing those years of, 22, 23 people going out in that area, but just trying to be patient and be sensitive when we reach out to meeting planners. But trying to feel positive like Mike, but it's tough in our industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous come October 1st. If the airlines don't receive some more federal funding as well as the airports, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a big deal for those. I mean, y'all have all been paying attention, but I think collectively 55,000 jobs are up in the air. Bad pun. Didn't mean that. Sorry. 55,000 jobs with the airlines. Delta, American, and United have all announced major potential layoffs if Congress does not do something to help. So we're monitoring that closely because of it's a shame there are impasse right now on that stuff. But anyway. All right. Well, listen.
One other thing, hey, Carl.
Yes, sir.
One thing I wanted to throw out there. So 735 nonstop routes have been removed from the airline network.
Wow.
And that's during the pandemic. So come October 1st, if there's not some federal funding, and still
this is reshifting a lot of things because, I mean, think about this. A year ago today, there was such a huge pilot shortage around the country. Now they're going to lay off a bunch of pilots, and pilots are at the age where there's a good number that served their time in the military and got out and they're ready to retire. And so once flights come back to even close to where they were, we're talking about a shortage. It's going to be horrible, which all that's going to do is raise prices, right? I mean, that's the long-term impact. If we don't have enough pilots, there are going to be fewer flights and more competitive. So anyway, it's an interesting dichotomy and things that turned around on a dime, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3 to 4 year recovery period.
Yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. All right. Anybody else got some pearls of wisdom? I know
Carl, this is Travis McNeil at Oliver
Hey,
Gospel.
Travis.
Hey, yeah, I didn't know y'all were doing these coffee things, so it's going to be on my calendar every week now.
We're here every week.
And the coffee got my attention, and I'll just do my 30-second elevator. If you see in my hand here, it's an Oliver Gospel roastery. So on the corner right beside the ballet, a lot of people don't know because our glass is smoked, so you can't see in here unless you look in. But we have ready to go almost within a few weeks, a state-of-the-art, probably the largest coffee shop in Columbia, and coffee roasting, beans. We have our own blends. So it will be a shop that you can come and sit. But you can also, we're going to eventually have mail order so that you can go on our website and we'll even mail you the coffee. Or you can come by and pick it up. We can work with large companies and create a package so that someone on this call has already reached out to me and said, hey, I know a friend of mine that wants to buy 300 bags of coffee for the fall. to give to his clients. I said, yeah, bring it on, let's do it. And the cool thing is yes, we will have some paid staff here, but we're going to have some volunteers and some of our men and our women from our women's center and our men's center. This will be an avenue for them to learn customer service, learn restauranting, and just a part of their life skills training. So we're really excited about it. And it's really a part of our wanting to be a part of revitalization here right on Taylor Street. So that's our brand logo there on my cup. And you'll see
like
it. The OG is our new Oliver Gospel branding. So you're probably downtown. Even drop, we're not open yet. We haven't set a date. Probably in a few weeks we'll open. But drop by. Sam, our chef, he's in here. Come by, get a free cup of coffee right now. You don't have to pay for it.
Hey, I need one. I got to get one of those mugs. I like those. They look good.
We've got a few.
Good. Thanks for that, Travis. Good seeing you. All right. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Go Gamecocks. Tennessee this weekend. I hope at noon today we're going to hear some loud, obnoxious Gamecocking going on around downtown. For those that have worked downtown, you hear it every Friday. Is it 11 o'clock maybe? Anyway, I've missed it. This coming from a College Charleston Cougar, I've missed that sound. So, all right, y'all have a great week. We will see y'all again next Friday, and be careful out there. Don't forget, Jim Morris's info is out there on the web, and wear your mask and sanitize. See you.